Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone. Welcome to your number one source for Native American television news. It's Muskogee Vision. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, here with you in our studios, coming to you across the airwaves on Tulsa CW 1219. So glad to be with you again each and every Saturday. This is the first, longest running weekly all Native American news format on network television, and we're so proud of that. And we've got a lot of great things coming up. A big news week at Muskogee Creek Nation for sure, not only around here but nationally, as oral arguments were heard in the Supreme Court regarding the Murphy case. And if you've followed us here on Muskogee Vision, Muskogee Media, Muskogee News, any of our outlets, you know that extensively we have followed and covered this Murphy case, as it will decide reservation status of Oklahoma and whether it is still intact with Creek Nation, everything like that. So all of that will be coming your way next week. We are going to have a special on the Murphy case. As I said, oral arguments heard this week. Principal Chief in Washington, D.C., James Floyd there, and I believe Councilman Dale Beaver there as well, too. So there's some Creek Nation administrators up there, and those of us back home following that. There are transcripts available. We will have something next week, though, a special on the show here. So if you're one of those legal nerds out there that really gets into this Murphy case and wants to know the outcome and what could happen here, please follow us and watch us next week. You do not want to miss it. We'll have a lot of special coverage on that. But this week, it's business as usual. Lots of great things to bring you this week. We have an opening series segment with the health department here at Muskogee Creek Nation, talking about a series coming up on their community health profile. We'll also take a look at the big game at the Muskogee Dome this week between Haskell and Bacone. All of that and more after this first break. You're watching Muskogee Vision.
As part of our grand reopening, we're partnering with Muskogee Media.
We're just getting ready to do another one of our $100 shopping spree giveaways, and I wanted to give a big thank you to the Muskogee Media for sponsoring this event.
Like Randy's Foods and Muskogee Media on Facebook and share this video for the drawing.
And welcome back to the program as we get started this week, and it is with the Muskogee Creek Nation Department of Health. Recently, I met with the Secretary of Health here at Creek Nation, Sean Terry, and he talked with me about maybe a video series breaking down their recently acquired community health profile. What the community health profile is it is compiled by the Southern Plains Tribal Health Board, which the Muskogee Creek Nation Department of Health is a part of. But it is data formulated and compiled, and it's lots of indicators in there. Health indicators, financial indicators, preventative indicators, things like that. But data that the Department of Health can take and then use to see how they're doing and how they can plot out coverage and a care strategy for citizens going forward. So our idea was to basically introduce this community health profile, follow it with different segments weekly with different topics. And this first segment with Sean Terry is explaining the health profile.
The Muskogee Creek Nation Department of Health, we asked the Southern Plains Tribal Health Board here in Oklahoma, which we are a part of, to conduct an epidemiological study for us. And so what they do is they go out and they pull data from federal, state, and local agencies, and then they take that data and come in and create this comprehensive look at all of that data, and they put that in the report. So when you look at the report, if you go online and look at the report, down at the bottom it will have a reference of which data source was used. So there's going to be multiple places where this information comes from, but we're very lucky to have somebody like the Southern Plains Tribal Health Board to partner with us on that, and so we're excited to be able to share this information with our citizens. What this community health profile is a snapshot of the 11 counties that make up the Muskogee Creek Nation, and also how that compares inside of the 11 counties with Indians versus non-Indians. And then it also compares the 11 counties to the rest of the state and how we compare overall to the state. So when in medicine, one of the things that you always want to have is data when you're trying to make decisions. Just trying to come up with stuff off your head is not the way that we should be doing business here. So as we develop this community health profile, what it really does is it gives us information about the breakdown of all of our specific trends. It gives us the demographics, it gives us the economic indicators, and it gives us also health indicators. Well, as we were looking through the data, one of the things that we already knew was that in comparison to the rest of the United States, Oklahoma already ranks at the bottom of many health indicators. Then when you start looking at the 11 counties inside of Oklahoma, Creek Nation has some really disturbing statistics that shows up in this community health profile. And we know many of them. We know things that we have higher rates of diabetes. We know that we have higher rates of heart disease and many of the issues that our citizens just deal with every day, and it's become part of our lives. But we've also started digging through this report and seeing that there were some things that were shocking. And one of the first things that we're going to address as we move forward with this is going to be our infant mortality rates. When you look at infant mortality rates in Oklahoma, it's some of the worst in the country. And then the Indian population inside of our 11 counties is even drastically worse than that. That means that if we want to grow our nation and we want to have a healthy citizenry, that we first got to address our babies are dying before they even have a chance to be born and live. So to me, this is one of the most important issues that I think that we have got to figure out is why is our babies dying? We instinctively know that our clinics, that in hospitals that we don't have good prenatal care throughout our inside of our system. So we're going to start looking for partners who can come in and help us as we begin to grow prenatal care inside of our system, work with our partners in the Tulsa and Oklahoma City area regarding deliveries and how those babies, once they're born, how do they get back into our system, and we expand and grow our pediatric care. We know that this is something that's going to be absolutely essential moving forward. So with that, what we would really like to do is start to break this community health profile down, and every few weeks we're going to take a different topic that we find inside the report, and we want to go out and share with the nation. This is the numbers that we're seeing. This is the data that is showing us the problems with what our citizens are having as far as healthcare. And here's how we want to work with our citizens to try to change these numbers to make them better. And so we're excited to be able to do that. We're going to publish this report on the website, and then also as we roll out these weekly updates, we're going to also publish the report and have a place where our citizens can connect to it. One of the things I do want people to keep in mind is that when you look at data, it typically needs to be explained. And so that's what we hope that we're going to do as we go through these sessions, is to tell not only how is this data gathered, but also what does it mean, and then what should we be trying to do as a nation to address that problem. So I'm excited to be able to do this, and hopefully it's really going to have an impact on the health of our nation. So some of the topics that we're going to be addressing on a weekly basis is going to be addressing obesity. It's going to be addressing tobacco use and alcohol, injury and violence, immunizations and the importance of making sure that our citizens are immunized. It's going to talk about healthcare coverage and why is it important when you see us make a push to enroll people in Medicare and Medicaid and private insurance, and how that relates overall to the overall health of the tribe, and why is that important. We're going to do those sessions as well. We're going to talk about high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and how that's some of the things that we can do to make sure that our overall health is where it needs to be. We're going to talk about then the chronic problems with heart disease and diabetes and strokes and arthritis and all of those major diseases that we spend a lot of our resources on as a tribe trying to combat. Then we're going to get into some other areas that we haven't done so well in the past. We're going to talk about things like asthma, and because we have a lot of people that are in this area that are afflicted with asthma and allergy type conditions that we just have never really addressed here. We're going to get into a lot of the preventative screenings, such as why it's so important for us to get for our citizens to have mammograms and to have colonoscopies and all of the preventative care, and how by doing that preventative care, it really saves down the road when something does go wrong. And so we're going to talk about those topics as well. And then we're really going to spend a lot of time, I'm hoping, in this first session about maternal and child health. You're going to start hearing from our individual doctors, and we have some great doctors in the system that they're going to come out and address in these sessions about why having prenatal care is so important. And so you're going to hear from some of our female physicians that have taken this on as their mission inside our organization. And we have some really good doctors that are going to be able to address that. And I think that you're going to enjoy hearing from them.
And I want to thank Sean Terry again, Secretary of Health over there at the Muskogee Creek Nation's Department of Health. And as I said, this will be a continuing series. What we're going to do, and he's explained it there, but we're just going to talk with a different health professional as it pertains to their area of expertise, or really the field that they're practicing medicine in. So I think it'll be a great resource for our Muskogee Creek Nation citizens as we take a deeper look into the health of our nation. Well, moving on, the health of our nation, a lot of it has to do with pride and taking pride in what we are and who we are and what we have been. And certainly our past is rich and storied here in Okmulgee. None can be more said so than at the Council House Square in downtown Okmulgee. The historic Council House, now reopened, sort of refashioned as a museum type of place. But this last Saturday, as it reopened and we celebrated its reopening, it doubled once again as the place where our Creek Nation Council meets.
Have the council house fully restored and to hold, our council meeting here and do the nation's business in the public in such a historic building like it was done before was, I think, very significant. And so it was a beautiful day as well. And I kept having memories of what it must have been like 130 years ago when they were doing that with people outside and in the hallways and standing up alongside the walls. I thought it was just very appropriate today that we opened the council house by having a council meeting here.
The importance of it is our Creek people, this was part of our history many, many years ago. And to bring it back and to have the opportunity to teach our youth what our history is about is what it means to me.
As I was walking through, I seen a lot of history of the Indian boarding schools that were here in Indian country. So yeah, I think that's what it's going to do. I think is educate the young people.
Parents would bring us up here when we were little kids. I still remember that. They tell us the stories of the House of Warriors, the House of Kings. I hope that that tradition carries on with children coming here, that they know that the sophisticated government that we had, the laws that we had, how we did business, how we had education. And one room here has an example of that. All of the elements that we see presently are exhibited in this building.
And what a great day that was there on the Council House lawn with everybody out and about. It's just a fantastic new facility, basically, that they've fashioned it as I said, with the with being sort of a museum now. So you go in there and you see some things that we've been able to actually get back from other collections, things like that. There in the Council House now. What a special day that was. Another special day recently was for the Muskogee Creek Nation Department of Education and Training, as annually they bring superintendents from around the different public schools in the Creek Nation boundary, as well as a lot of other education professionals. We had people there from University of Oklahoma, higher education institutions. Basically, it is the Superintendent Summit, though. They bring them all together and provide a workshop, a full day of different topics that they're covering, things that they need to target and get better at in Oklahoma education. A lot of people on hand, and we were glad to be there to be able to follow this story.
Today we're hosting our Superintendent Summit where we welcome in all 67 schools from the Muskogee Creek Nation boundaries. We brought in the Oklahoma State Department of Education, the University of Oklahoma, and other organizations to update our superintendents and our school personnel on a lot of the initiatives that are going on here in the state of Oklahoma. The Creek Nation has developed a lot of partnerships, not only with our 67 schools, but with OU, with the Oklahoma State Department. We've put on the Trauma Summit. We've done the ESSA workshops. We're trying to continue that. There's a lot more that we can do. And today, we're going to talk about our accomplishments up to date, as well as some other things that we want to get involved in. We're working with the OU School of Journalism, have started a partnership with them. So we're out there. We want to collaborate with these universities and schools so that we can bring greater opportunities to our Native students in the schools and maybe push them into higher education and career readiness. And that's really what today's about. We have a good turnout, and we have some good presenters, and we're anxious to work with our schools and educators out there who are serving our Native American students.
Well, it's definitely a privilege to be here. It is definitely a goal for the State Department of Education to build partnerships. And we have been very fortunate with Muskogee Creek Nation and other tribal nations to connect with them because we all have the same goals. We all want equity and access for all of our students, and it's just a pleasure. I believe that this partnership has grown over the last couple of years in particular, and we appreciate the opportunity and look forward to more collaboration.
I think this is really the important stuff for the future. I think for so long we've had these silos where we've had extraordinary stuff going on in different places, but we never get a chance to sort of peek over and then collaborate and connect. And so these kinds of days are so important. If we have big goals of being able to make sure that we've got, in our case, great teachers, strong, thriving communities, we can't do it separately. So today we're going to talk a little bit about a program that we have called Find Your Future. The idea is to recruit high school kids that might not even think they want to be a teacher, come into OU. We've got a financial pathway that gets them back to that community, not having to worry about any higher ed debt, and then they can have a lifelong impact in that community as a teacher. So it's just exciting to be able to think about connecting in some of those partnerships.
Well, folks, we're going to wrap up this week's episode with a very historic occasion, the Battle at the Dome. The Muskogee Dome, with its new renovations that you've probably seen on the show here, all new wooden floor there in the gymnasium, as well as all new chairback seating all throughout the dome. It is the tribe's premier multi-purpose facility, and when it was first built, when it was first conceptualized, moments like we're about to share with you were what were first visioned. People saw it as a place where we could host big games, we could host tournaments, everything like that. Now you've seen that we have announced that the Muskogee Creek Nation, for the first time ever in the Dome, will be hosting the Okmulgee County Tournament. For the first time ever, a sanctioned NAIA basketball game between the Haskell Lady Indians and the Bacone Lady Warriors, two historically Native American institutions getting together at the Muskogee Dome for its first sanctioned event. What a neat event it was, and we were glad to be there to bring it to you all today. A historic night for two historic Native American higher education institutions as the women's basketball teams from Bacone College and Haskell Indian Nations University met for the first sanctioned event held at the Muskogee Dome.
Well, Bacone reached out to us and expressed their interest in playing Haskell here. I think being kind of the midway point for both schools and the significance of both schools and being Native American Month, everything seemed to kind of fall into place, so we made it happen.
Bacone head coach Galen Springer is in his first year at the school, but he understands the significance of this game and certainly is no stranger to Haskell.
It means a great opportunity. I actually coached at Haskell. I graduated from Haskell. Spent 13 years as a coach, assistant coach at Haskell. Now I have my chance as a head coach, but to have Haskell come down here is a great opportunity for not only Creek Nation here, but all the fans that are the alumni, Haskell alumni, Bacone alumni. It's an honor here to be, coaching against my alma mater.
Shane Flanagan talked about the special opportunity the game provides his Haskell squad and how it's different when they're not the only historic Native school involved.
You know, being the head coach at Haskell, these games don't come around very often where we can come down and play Bacone and play another Native team. So it's exciting. The girls have been excited about it. I'm excited about it. So, and it's nice just to showcase the Native athletes. So it's a big game for us. It's unique for us because, you know, in our pregame talk, we actually talk about the responsibilities of being Native American and representing the Native American culture. So we have that talk, so it's an important thing for us. You know, it's an important game, and you know, it'll be fun.
And Flanagan sees more events in the future for the Muskogee Nation's premier venue.
Oh, absolutely. It's something that I think would be great for everybody. Bring the men's team too as well. So I think it's a great thing. Love to have them back, come up to our place and do something similar. So anytime we can get together, I'm excited. I can use it as a recruiting tool. I need to get more Oklahoma girls up to Lawrence. So they just got to be KU fans. That's all. It takes a little bit of time, but that's okay.
For the Muskogee Creek Nation's Tourism and Recreation Department, the efforts to improve the Dome are justified when attracting and hosting these type of events.
I mean, this is what we're, you know, the reason we made the changes that we did, adding the seats and the floor. These are the kind of venues that we wanted. So, you know, with the Bacone Haskell tournament or game and the county tournament coming up, yeah, this is just what we were shooting for.
Well, that'll do it, everyone. We want to thank you for joining us this week here on Muskogee Vision, as you always do. All of our loyal viewers in the Tulsa area and our surrounding areas in Green Country watching us here on the CW19. We certainly love our home. We want to thank everybody out there watching us on our online channel that may not be in the viewing area, the folks that watch us on their laptops, on their iPads, on their telephones. We want to really reach out and say thank you, because we love seeing a lot of traffic onto our YouTube channel, because there's all kinds of things on there, as I tell you a lot. I know you guys get tired of me telling you, but I really want you to go check it out. We've got archive on there. We've got old episodes. You can see me back when I had hair. Not always the best hairstyle, but I did have hair. There's verifiable evidence on that YouTube channel in the archives. So go back there, have a good time laughing at myself, Gerald. Jared's even on there in a few episodes. So we have a great time on the show. You can see several years back of that, but also some things that were done at Creek Nation back in the 70s, 80s that a lot of people seem to really enjoy when we show it on the show. Well, and I want to also have you go to MuskogeeMedia.com. Our website each day is full of news going on about Muskogee Creek Nation and all kinds of things that you need to be up to speed on. So MuskogeeMedia.com needs to be your home for all things Muskogee Creek Nation. For Jared Moore, I'm Jason Salzman. You guys have a great week. We'll see you next time.